Yeah, grab me some. What?
As you say that, I'll come.
Soda or food? No, some bunch of chips. Yeah, I love it.
You can be seated.
Judge, Judge about the schedule. You haven't called the jury yet.
Pardon me?
Just to let the court know, we have one additional witness today.
Good.
That's here, that's ready.
Good.
Other than that, all the additional other witnesses will be
tomorrow?
more lengthy, and so we've
Good.
bumped it to tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Judge, the jurors are present and seated.
Thank you. Whenever you're ready.
All right, Mr. Goodman, we were talking about some of the additional locations you went to collect evidence. We had just finished talking about the residence at 589th Avenue North, apartment number 7, when I noticed that there were 2 additional items I wanted to discuss from that location. For the record, I'm showing defense counsel what's been marked as State's Exhibits 29 and 30. Mr. Goodman, take a second to look at State's Exhibits number 29 and 30 for identification. Let me know when you recognize those items.
Yes, sir.
And speaking, do you recognize the handwriting on those?
Yes, sir, I
The
do.
markings on, is that your handwriting and your initials?
Yes, sir.
Speaking specifically about State's Exhibit number 29, what's indicated inside that bag?
It's the white plastic bag with miscellaneous trash items that was recovered from the vent.
Okay, shown in the photograph with the wallet and the driver's license and the phone.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then what's being represented in State's Exhibit number 30?
It's a red T-shirt that was located in the bathroom of apartment number 7.
Okay, that's the one on 89th Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Judge, at this time, the state would seek to admit that what's been marked as State's Exhibits 29 and 30.
Okay. Any objection, Mr. Trevino?
No objection, Your
All
Honor.
right, they're admitted.
All right, Mr. Goodman, let's move back to the crime, the scene that you went to at 610 Fifth Avenue North.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this is the residence we're talking about. I think the photograph is still up on the monitor where you smelled the bleach, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. For the record, Your Honor, I've shown defense counsel what's been marked as State's Exhibits 27 and 28. Mr. Goodman, take a second to look at what's been marked as State's Exhibits 27 and 28. You recognize those items?
Yes, sir, I do.
Speaking specifically about State's Exhibit number 27, what's located in that item?
This is actually the clothing that was recovered from the tub off the 5th Avenue North apartment.
The clothing that's represented in the photograph?
Yes, sir.
And then what's in I guess the next item, 28?
It's the Clorox bleach bottle that was recovered from the tub. Can be seen in the photograph there.
Judge, at this time, the state would seek to admit what's been marked as State's Exhibits 27 and 28.
Any objection, Mr. Trevino?
Your Honor, as to Exhibit 27, it seems to be a composite. Do we have a breakdown of exactly what's in that bag in terms of clothing?
We do. It's on the bag, but we could put it in separate
Or if we just call it a composite and delineate what's in there.
Okay. I have no.
Okay, you want to just read it?
Yes, Judge. It's a 27 will be a composite exhibit to contain gray shorts from the tub at 610, a black tank top from the tub at 610, a brown T-shirt from tub at 610, and a black and white shirt from tub at 610 Fifth Avenue North.
Okay,
No objection, Your Honor.
thank you.
Permission to kind of hold the bag out, Judge, if I may.
Yes.
Mr. Goodman, as you can kind of see in the photograph, and I guess from the items in here, there was actually bleach poured on these items, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the clothing showed markings of, I guess, what bleach would do to clothing and poured on it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Goodman, did you have an opportunity to go to the police station I guess, during the course of this investigation?
Yes, sir.
And while you were at the police station, were you asked by detectives to collect specific evidence from certain individuals?
Yes, sir, I was.
All right. Were you asked to collect what was referred to as a buccal swab?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe for the jury what exactly a buccal swab is and how you would collect it?
The buccal swab or oral swab, terms are interchangeable, is a swab that is collected on the inside of the cheek. Basically, we have sterile swabs, which are oversized Q-tips, not much more than that. And the swab is rubbed along the inside of the cheek. Purpose of that is to collect the skin cells, and it's used primarily for a DNA profile for a comparison, is if you know if you have an unknown stain from a scene, you can collect the buccal swab to provide a known standard for the comparison.
Okay. And in this case, did you collect buccal swabs?
Yes, sir, I did.
Your Honor, the State's Showing Defense Counsel was marked as State's Exhibit 23. We'll do it as a composite exhibit because there are three items inside of it. We'll do 23A, B, and C.
All right.
Mr. Goodman, do you have an opportunity to take a look at this and tell me if you recognize it?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Were those swabs that you collected?
Yes, sir, they are.
And you kind of described for the jury, but a swab really is just an enlarged Q-tip, correct?
Pretty much a fancy Q-tip that they charge a lot more for than Q-tips.
Okay. And in this case, you collected a buccal swab from a LaRon Rayford
Yes, sir.
and a Lamont Newton,
Yes, sir.
as well as a Jennifer Mee.
Yes, sir.
Judge, at this time, the state would seek to admit this composite exhibit states 23, A, B, and C.
Any objection, Mr. Trevino?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, they're admitted.
Mr. Goodman, as is with the other forensic evidence, such as fingerprints, do you personally do the analytical work as it relates to the swabbing?
No, sir. We have an outside laboratory that does all of our DNA work. Unfortunately, St. Pete doesn't have the facilities to do our own DNA, so we work with the Pinellas Pasco County Medical Examiner's Office, and they have a DNA lab, and they do all of our work for us.
That's done right here in Pinellas County.
Yes, sir.
All right. In addition to those swabbings that you collected from the individuals, did you have an opportunity to swab other items that you'd previously collected?
Yes, sir.
Okay, speaking specifically about the gun in this case, did you have an opportunity to collect swabs from the gun?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And as well from the shell casings from the gun?
Yes, sir.
All right. For the For the record, I'm showing defense counsel what's been marked for identification, states exhibits 21 and 22. Mr. Goodman, I'm going to ask that you look at states exhibits 21 and 22 and tell me if you recognize the markings located on that.
Yes, sir.
In addition, did you collect those items?
Yes, sir, I did.
And what are represented in those two items?
We have the 6 swabs from the shell casing. Each shell casing was swabbed individually, and swabs were collected from the trigger, the hand grip, and the hammer of the gun.
Judge, at this time, the state would seek to admit what's been marked as states exhibits 21 and 22.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, they're admitted.
Mr. Goodman, while you were at the police station, did you have an opportunity to photograph the individuals that you were there to collect evidence from?
Yes, sir, I did.
For the record, I'm showing defense counsel 8A, B, and C. Mr. Goodman, take a second to look at these 3 photographs. Do you recognize those photographs?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, and those photographs of the individuals that you met with to collect the buffer swabs.
Yes, sir.
And those were taken at the police department in St. Petersburg.
Yes, sir.
Judge, at this time, the state would seek to admit 8A, B, and C.
Any objection, Mr. Trevino?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 8A, B, and C are admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, for the record, I'm showing defense counsel what's been marked as states exhibits 31 and 32. All right. Mr. Goodman, I'm going to show you states exhibits 31 and 32. Take a second to look at the markings on the bag. Let me know if you recognize them.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, and what is represented in these items?
We have 2 shirts from the victim, as well as the victim's black jeans.
These were collected from the victim himself, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Judge, at this time, the state would seek to admit states exhibits 31 and 32.
Any objection?
No objection, Your
All
Honor.
right, they're admitted.
Your Honor, if I may just have one moment.
Uh-huh.
All right, Mr. Goodman, does that kind of complete, or at least cover most of what you did in this case?
Yes, sir.
All right. No further questions of this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, sir.
Do you collect only those items of evidence that you're requested to collect by the detectives or supervisors, or do you have some autonomy as to what you collect?
Ideally, we work as a team. If I notice an item that I feel is of evidentiary value, I am at liberty to collect that item as well. But a lot of times we work in conjunction with the detectives. They're obtaining information that may be from witnesses that I haven't spoken to. So I may be directed to collect items that I don't understand why I'm collecting them at the time, but there is a reason for it.
In this particular case, do you have any independent recollection of any specific instructions to secure any specific evidence?
I don't have any independent recollection. I know that the discussion was held with the detectives as to what items we needed to collect.
With respect to the condom wrapper, do you recall how that discussion went on how it should be collected or if it should be collected?
It was collected primarily because of its location to the scene. Again, as I stated earlier, at that point I can't rule it out as just being trash in the yard. To me, there was a possibility that it was related, and it was better to err on the side of caution and collect it at that point. And if at a later time we found out it was not related.
Oh, you found out it was not related?
If we had found out that it was not related, then it wouldn't.
Do you know in this case what evidentiary value it ultimately showed, if any?
I know that I processed it for fingerprints. I don't believe I recovered any. I recovered a lift, but I don't believe it was of value. Beyond that, I don't know if anything has been done with the wrapper.
Now, was it just a wrapper or was the condom itself found?
It was just the wrapper.
So nowhere in the vicinity were you able to locate the condom, presumably, that was in the wrapper?
Correct.
Okay. Now, you have went to many crime scenes in your years with the police department, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've had the opportunity, I'm sure, to photograph numerous victims of various types of crimes.
Yes, sir.
Have you had the opportunity to photograph victims of sexual assault?
Yes, sir, I have.
Have you had the opportunity to photograph victims that may have been killed during sexual intercourse or during a sex act?
Yes, sir.
And have you had the opportunity to take photographs of victims who have been the victims of robberies?
Yes, sir.
In this particular case, given the location of the pants of the victim being pulled down, unzipped, and his pants unbuttoned, did that cause you some concern that there may be some sexual component to this?
It's always a consideration, especially the crime scene is the very first part of the investigation. There's a lot more that goes on. So at the initial crime scene, you try and keep an open mind and say that anything is possible.
Okay. And add in the condom, would that heighten your concern?
It could be related. It could have been a sexual situation that went wrong. At that point, as I said, we're just starting the investigation. We don't have all the answers, unfortunately. And, so that is a consideration.
Let me ask you, do you ever get into looking at and analyzing the gunshot wounds to victims, more than just counting them, but let me be more clear. For example, if someone is shot once versus a victim who's shot 4 times, if someone's claiming it's an accident that the person was shot, does it seem more likely or less likely to you that one shot is more consistent with an accidental discharge versus 4 shots?
Judge, I'm going to object. Roach?
Yes.
Have you ever been called upon to testify in a case concerning the number of wounds to a victim?
I can say that I have testified to how many gunshot wounds some victims have had.
Okay, and have you ever testified further as to the potential causation when there is a large number of wounds versus a singular wound?
No, sir, that's a little out of my realm. That's more towards what the medical examiner would be able to address.
That's fair enough. If I may have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes?
I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any redirect of this witness? Is he excused or standby?
We ask that he remain on standby.
Okay, so you can leave the building, but you're on standby, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Have a good evening. All right, next witness.
State would call Melinda Clayton.
Just for your information, we have one more witness set for today. This will be our last witness today.
May I step this way, please? Stand right here, face the front of the court, raise your right hand, receive the oath.
You do swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Step this way, have a seat, speak in a loud and clear voice from the court.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Miss Clayton.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Good. Would you please state your name for the record?
My name is Melinda Clayton,
And where are you employed, Miss
St.
Clayton?
Petersburg Police Department,
How long have you been so employed?
25 years.
And in what is the nature of your work there?
I am a latent print examiner, which means I compare fingerprints.
And how long have you been doing that?
28 years total.
What type of study or preparation did you go through to become a latent print examiner?
I apprenticed at the Lakeland Police Department for a couple of years under an experienced certified latent print examiner. I also attended and completed at that time the FBI Basic and FBI Advanced fingerprint courses. I also attended and completed the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Science and Fingerprint course in Tallahassee. And through the ensuing years, I try to maintain continuing education when I can, as well as read professional journals to keep my knowledge current.
Have you had occasion to identify persons by comparing latent prints with their own inked fingerprints?
I have.
And what are those those fingerprints called?
The ink prints are referred to as known prints.
And the prints that are lifted, what are they called?
The prints that are lifted at crime scenes or from objects that are processed are called latent prints.
And have you testified on fingerprint examination in courts in Pinellas County in the past?
I have.
Have you also had occasion to testify in court regarding identification of persons based on those prints?
I have.
Are there different distinguishing characteristics of a print?
Yes. I think it's probably fairly well known that every fingerprint is different and unique to one individual. And in fact, on one individual, all 10 of their fingerprints are unique to their own selves. Each fingerprint has the same characteristics. There are only a few identifying characteristics, but it's their arrangement to each other, the way they are mapped out on the ridge detail, that makes each fingerprint unique.
Could two different people have the same fingerprint?
It's never been known to happen. Even identical twins do not have identical fingerprints.
And could you tell the jurors, please, how it is that a person might leave a fingerprint?
Yes, a latent print may be left on an item that comes in contact with the person's fingers. The circumstances have to be right. There has to be a certain amount of oils or moisture present on the fingers themselves. The item that's touched has to be receptive to retaining those oils and moistures. The the print cannot be destroyed before it's processed and developed and lifted.
Are there some items that are better suited to leave a print than other items?
Yes, usually hard, smooth surfaces are more receptive to retaining a latent print impression.
If I can have a moment, Your Honor. If I could approach the witness. Ms. Clayton, I am showing you what's been entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 33 for identification. Do you recognize what that is?
I do.
Could you please tell us what that is?
This is a known fingerprint card.
Is that a known fingerprint card that you yourself prepared?
Yes, this is one that I personally obtained the fingerprint images present on it.
And at this time, Your Honor, I'd move this into evidence as State's Exhibit 33.
Any objection?
No objection, Your
All
Honor.
right, 33 is admitted.
And you recall whose prints these are?
Yes, these are the known prints of Jennifer Me.
And when did you take those prints?
This past Friday, the 13th of September.
And you see Miss Me in the courtroom today?
I do.
Could you please describe what she's wearing?
She's wearing a purple top.
If the record could reflect that she has identified Miss Me.
Any objection, Mr. Trevina?
None.
The record will so reflect that she's identified the defendant.
And how did you go about getting these known prints?
Well, I started with the blank fingerprint card. The way the known prints are obtained is each finger is rolled across an ink pad and then rolled onto the fingerprint card one at a time, thereby recording the ridge detail present in those fingers.
And I'm showing you what's been entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 15. Could you please tell the jurors what that is?
Yes, this is a latent lift, or a lift of a latent print.
And is there any information on that lift?
Yes, the indication is it came from the front of a driver's license.
And was that collected by Technician Goodman?
It was.
And did you have an occasion to compare the print located on that lift from the driver's license to the known prints that you collected from Miss Me?
I did.
And did you arrive at a conclusion as a result of your examination of those prints?
Yes, my conclusion was that the print that was obtained from the front of the driver's license was the right index finger of Jennifer Me.
If I can have a moment, Your Honor.
Yes. What was the number on that last one?
The last one was 33.
No, the latent. 15?
15.
Okay.
I have nothing further of this witness.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
Briefly, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
A fingerprint comparison, it doesn't tell you when the print was placed on an item, correct?
That's correct.
Or where, in terms of geography, where it may have been placed on the item other than on the location of the item itself.
That's correct.
And in fact, isn't it true that some prints can last a considerable amount of time?
Yeah, there's no scientific way to determine when a print was left on an item, and I couldn't really even guess to how long.
Now, you use certain standards in your science, if you will, where there's a certain minimum points of comparison before you're able to accurately make a comparison, correct?
Well, there's no specifically set number of points that have to be arrived at. A sufficient amount, an amount to show that the uniqueness of this fingerprint has been reached, that no other person would have that same amount of characteristics in that same arrangement.
And in this particular case, how many points of comparison matched?
I believe it was around 14.
Okay. And what is the possibility in terms of point comparison, the maximum?
The maximum? Oh, well, on a fingerprint, it could be anywhere from 70 to over 100 characteristics present on a fully rolled print, which we don't come across very often.
No further questions. Thank you.
Redirect?
Just briefly, Judge. So the print that was lifted off that driver's license was not a fully rolled print?
No,
And do you have special equipment that you utilize when you're examining these prints?
well, basically lighting and a magnification system, yes.
Did you use that in this case?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Right. Is she excused or on standby?
She's excused.
Mr. Trevino?
No objection.
All right, you're free to go, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, it's 5:15, so you're getting out of here earlier than I thought you might be tonight. So thank you very much for your patience. Tomorrow, we won't make you wait so long when you first get here. I've looked at my calendar for the morning, and I think I can get it done quickly, so I'm going to have you come back at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I am doing my best to try to get this case finished this week. I can't promise it, but that's really what I'm trying to do, so nobody has to come back next week. So, do not discuss the case among yourselves or with anyone else. Don't watch any local news. Don't read any local newspapers. Don't go online and look at any local, and I will say national. Just skip the news altogether till this trial is done. Leave your pads and pens. Thank you for your attention. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
If I may?
Yeah?
The first witness is going to be here at 9:15. Can't get in here earlier.
All right.
Sorry, we've
Okay.
tried.
Okay, did you want 9:15 or 9?
9:15, Judge, she said she
Okay.
promised.
9:15.
Okay.
You just got 15 extra minutes. You're welcome. Yeah, that stair can be tricky there. Okay, thank you. Anything else this evening, or will we see each other all at 9:15?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We're in recess. You coming back tomorrow? Oh, okay, sure. You know, the reason I mention that is they can't see it. You know, it's like if it's a young lawyer, state attorney, or defense lawyer,